everybody to my YouTube channel. I'm gonna try this again and I promise I will be posting more. In this video I will be showing you how I created these white and red nails for Valentine's Day. So starting off with cuticle prep, I'm taking the Sally Hansen cuticle remover or cuticle softener, and I'm placing this all over my cuticle area and leaving that on for about 2 or 3 minutes just so my cuticles can soak this up. Now that my cuticles are soft, I will begin pushing them back with this cuticle pusher. So you want to make sure you are holding the tool parallel to your natural nail and that you are using light pressure. So with this, you're just pushing the skin back, and if there is any cuticle stuck to the natural nail, that you gently scrape that away, because having cuticle on the natural nail can actually affect the adhesion of the nail extension. Once I'm done pushing back my cuticles, I'll clean my nail with some alcohol and a wet wipe and move on to cutting my cuticles. This is not a step that you have to include, especially if you're not confident. So I start off by cleaning the cuticle nipper just so that it's nice and clean. Don't want to get an infection should you accidentally cut yourself. So when cutting your cuticles, you want to make sure that you don't feel any pain. If you feel any pain, it's probably because you are cutting live tissue and not the dead cuticle. You want to go as slow as possible when doing this because you wouldn't want to cut yourself, and this just really creates a very clean manicure. Once I'm done cutting the cuticles, I am cleaning my nail with some alcohol and a wet wipe. Sometimes I can feel like a slight burn, and that usually means like maybe I cut myself, but this is just going to clean the area. Now that my cuticles are all trimmed, I will now cut down my natural nail. I have no idea why I left my nails to grow this long, but I decided to then cut down the length. You can leave your nails long underneath the nail extension. I just don't like keeping it long because I don't like seeing my natural nail underneath the extension. Now, using the smooth side of the nail file, I will just gently file my natural nail. When filing your natural nail, you want to make sure that you are not dragging the nail file back and forth, but that you start on one side of the nail, drag across, and then go back and drag across. Filing the nail back and forth can actually damage the nail and lead to splitting when the nail grows out. Once my nails are filed, I'm just cleaning away the dust with some alcohol and a wet wipe. And then we repeat the process on the other hand. Again, I just feel the need to mention that you don't have to cut your cuticles. This is an optional step. If you don't feel comfortable, then it's probably a good idea not to do this because you wouldn't want to cut yourself. So moving on to the final step of preparing your nails for the nail extension, I'm taking the smooth side of the nail file and I'm gently removing the shine from the natural nail. So this is just going to roughen up the surface of your natural nail. You want to be really gentle when you are doing this. Don't apply too much pressure, but this is important because it's going to help the adhesion. Then to remove the dust, I'm just taking some alcohol and a wet wipe and cleaning my nail. Now moving on to the fun part, we are going to get our nail extensions ready. When selecting your nail extensions, you want to make sure that you are selecting the correct side. So the nail extension you select should fit from sidewall to sidewall. It should not overlap the skin at all. So it should just be a perfect fit sidewall to sidewall, not overlapping onto the skin. So again, you just want to make sure that the nail extension fits sidewall to sidewall and is not overlapping the skin. Once you've got your size correct, you can then place that aside in the order that you are going to be applying your nails. There will be times when you'll have difficulty finding the perfect fit, and in this case you would want to select a nail extension that is slightly larger than your natural nail, so overlapping onto the skin, and then you'd want to take a nail file and just gently file the side walls of the nail extension until it fits your natural nail. So once you've got all your nail extensions laid out, we are then going to proceed to prepare the nail extension. So taking my e-file, I will now begin etching the inside of the nail extension. What this is going to do is it's going to roughen up the inside of the nail extension because you don't want it to be too smooth. A rough surface is perfect for adhesion. When etching the inside of the nail extension, I'm only doing this to the part of the nail extension that will be in contact with my natural nail. You can buy nail extensions that come pre-etched, so you would not then have to do this. Next, I'm going to apply this nail dehydrator all over my natural nail. So nail dehydrator basically just acts to remove any moisture that is on your nail, as this can affect the adhesion process. You want to make sure that you apply a generous layer of this and allow it to fully dry before moving on to the next step. Once the nail dehydrator has dried, I'm going to apply nail primer. When applying nail primer, you want to make sure that you are keeping this layer quite thin, as applying too much can actually affect the adhesion. You also want to make sure that you allow this to fully dry. So usually what I do is I then, while I'm waiting for it to dry on my natural nail, I apply it to the inside of the nail extension, again keeping the layers quite thin. You don't need to do this. I just find that when I don't apply it to the inside of the nail extension, my nails don't last this long. Once the primer has dried on my natural nail, we can move on to adhering the nail extension to our natural nail. So starting off, I'm taking some of this rubber base gel and I'm applying this all over the natural nail. And make sure that you are not getting any of this onto the skin. If you do, you just want to wipe it off with some acetone before you cure it in the nail lamp. Once you've got the base gel on your natural nail, you can then cure it in the nail lamp. And now we can begin to apply the nail extension. You want to make sure that you get your flash curing lamp ready. So you can see I have it in the corner there. And now we will begin to add the rubber base gel to the nail extension. So here I'm just applying a thin layer all over the inside where we have etched. The remaining gel that is on the brush, I then scoop out onto the cuticle area of the nail extension. Now flipping the nail extension over, I'm applying it at a 45-degree angle as close to the cuticle area as possible and gently pressing down to force the gel to the edge of my nail. Once there is no air bubbles, I am then flash curing that for about 10 seconds, just so that the gel hardens slightly and holds the nail extension in place. And then we repeat the process for all the nails. I'm just applying a thin layer to the area that we etched, and then scooping out the excess gel from the brush onto the cuticle area, flipping over the nail and applying it at a 45-degree angle as close to the cuticle as possible, pressing down gently to force the gel towards the edge of the nail, and flash curing for 10 seconds once there are no air bubbles. And then we repeat the process for all the other nails. Now that we have all our nail extensions flash cured onto our nail, we are going to cure it in our nail lamp for about 60 seconds. So once the nail extensions are on, I am going to begin blending the cuticle area. So taking my nail file and a sanding band on the lowest speed, I'm going to run that along as close to the cuticle area as possible. What this is going to do is it's going to thin out the nail extension in this area, so that when your nail grows out, it looks as natural as possible. Once the cuticle area is blended, I am then going to roughen up the entire nail extension. So I'm just running the sanding band over the entire nail extension to roughen it up. Then we repeat the process on all the other nails. Cuticle areas are nice and blended, I am going to take some acetone in this little dish and add the acetone to the cuticle area. So using a nail brush, I'm taking a small amount of acetone and I'm just brushing this along the cuticle area. You don't want to use too much acetone, but what this is going to do is the acetone will further melt the nail extension to create a natural nail look when the extension grows out. Once you have allowed the acetone to dry, you can begin doing your nail design. So I decided to use a white gel polish. If you get any gel polish on your cuticle area, you want to make sure that you are cleaning that with a little brush and some acetone. And here I'm just flash curing the gel in place because it's quite warm where I am staying, and that tends to make the gel a bit runny. And because I'm moving my hand around, I don't want the gel to run into my cuticle, so I just make sure that I flash cure it before moving on to the next nail. Once I've painted all the nail extensions, I'm just placing my nail under the lamp for 60 seconds and then moving on to the design. So to create the hearts, you want to take a dotting tool and create 2 circles close to each other, and then dragging the one circle down, creating a V that connects the 2 circles, and flash curing your heart in place once you are happy with the design. And then you can move on to create the other hearts. Once you've got the design on all of your nails, you are going to place your nail in the lamp for 60 seconds to cure the design fully. So I actually didn't film myself adding the top coat, but I added a matte top coat, cured it in the lamp for 60 seconds. This is the finished design. I'm really proud of how this turned out. This is the first time I've ever tried a heart design. I think I did well for my first attempt. So I hope you enjoyed this video, that it inspires you to recreate the snails. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.